Hello, my friends. Welcome back to My Country is Alberta. This is about Alberta being a country on its own. Don't forget to share this podcast far and wide, like, hit, and subscribe so that you'll be notified every time a new podcast drops. Right now, there's so much propaganda out there, federally and provincially, about EVs. I want you to remember, the government has no money. They only get money by taxing the crap out of you and me over and over again to pay for their projects. Today I'm going to talk about electric cars. Zero emissions, right? You plug them in and magic happens. Except electricity doesn't grow on trees, and it doesn't sit on aisle 4 at Walmart. Every kilowatt hour has to be generated somewhere, usually by burning something or by damming up a river. Today, we're going to follow the full supply chain of an EV, from the mines in the Congo to the coal plants in China to the landfill at the end of the battery's life. Spoiler alert, it's not as green as the ads say. I'm going to break it down in about 6 points. The first point: electricity is a byproduct, not a fuel. Electricity is just a delivery system. In 2025, the global mix was about 35% coal, 23% natural gas, 14% hydro, 9% nuclear, and the rest was wind and solar. In China, where the world's EV batteries are made, a huge chunk of them, coal supplied almost 60% of the electricity in 2025. Global coal generation actually rose slightly last year because demand is exploding. And it's not just because of EVs, but because of industry and population. You have to remember this one stat. The more EVs on the road equals the more power plants. The International Energy Agency, the IEA, says every million new EVs on the road in coal-heavy grids adds roughly the output of at least one large coal plant's worth of demand. Point 2. China's coal build-out is not slowing down at all. As of mid-2025, China has almost 1,200 operational coal-fired power plants, more than 4 times the number in the next biggest country. That's a lot of cheap energy for manufacturing. In 2025 alone, China commissioned 75 gigawatts of new coal capacity, which is the most in a decade. Plus, developers filed a record 161 gigawatts of new proposals. That's roughly the entire UK electricity system being added in just 1 year. So some people say, well, let's just build more hydro. Well, here's a reality check for you there, Bueller. In Canada, more specifically in BC, the Site C Dam took almost 70 years to build. Site C is on the Peace River in BC, and it's the poster child of how slow hydro actually is. It was first seriously studied in the mid-1950s. There were full environmental hearings in the 1980s. It was shelved. It was revived in 2010. Environmental approval came in 2014, and construction started in 2015. The first power came in late 2025. That's 70 years from the first concept to the first watt. If a wealthy democratic country with strong rule of law takes 7 decades for one 1,100 megawatt dam, scaling hydro fast enough to charge hundreds of millions of EVs is pure fantasy. A total joke. Point 4. Minerals. EVs are glorified mining machines. A typical EV requires 6 times the mineral mass of a conventional car. For example, in kilograms, an EV vehicle takes 53 kilograms of copper. And a normal vehicle takes 22 kilograms of copper. Nickel, 40 kilograms for an EV. A standard car, 0. Graphite, 66 kilograms for an EV. Normal car, 0. Cobalt, 13 kilograms. Your vehicle, 0. Lithium, 9 kilograms. The total, 207 kilograms for an EV vehicle as opposed to an ICE vehicle, internal combustion engine, at 34 kilograms. This is strip mining on steroids. Point 5. The human and environmental cost in the global south. 70% of the world's cobalt comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Mines there employ tens of thousands of children as young as age 7, working without PPE in tunnels that collapse, breathing cobalt-laden dust linked to fatal lung disease. Amnesty International, The Guardian, and many more have documented this for years. And it continues. Lithium mining in the lithium triangle of Chile, Argentina, Bolivia is sucking aquifers dry in the desert regions. Nickel in Indonesia is strip mining rainforests. So every time it says, my EV is carbon neutral, remember the kids in the Congo digging the cobalt with their bare hands. These are child miners standing in toxic runoff and no safety gear. Point 6. End of life. Batteries are not magic pixie dust. A modern EV battery weighs 400 to 800 kilograms and lasts roughly 8 to 12 years. Global recycling rate today is about 5 to 15%. Most still end up in the landfill or are exported to places with very weak environmental rules. If they leak, you get heavy metals in groundwater. Fires during transport, recycling are a growing hazard. Talk to your local firefighter about EV batteries that catch fire. They are huge health and environmental hazards. Even with perfect recycling, which we're nowhere near, you still had to mine all those materials in the first place. So the strip mining will continue. And demand is growing so fast that recycling will only ever cover a fraction of what's needed. So next time you see an ad for an electric car that says 0 emissions, call bullshit. Remember, the emissions just moved upstream to the coal power plant in China, to the child miner in the Congo, and the slow motion hydro project that never really quite keep up. Electric vehicles are a technology shift, not an environmental miracle. The real solution is using less energy in the first place, not pretending we can electrify everything on a grid that still runs mostly on fossil fuels. That's all for this week, and remember, my friends, Albertans don't kneel.